It's Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. It is modern Freemasonry's 308th birthday today. A couple years ago, it was the overturning of Roe versus Wade by the numbers on this day. Of course, it's also John the Baptist's birthday. And when you think baptisms, you think babies, which ties in with abortion, which ties in with Roe versus Wade. But yeah, the theme of this video is going to be, liars and how many people listen to liars and maybe even people who don't realize that they're lying, but they're so ignorant they regurgitate the lies that are told from authority. And yesterday, as Trump was tweeting out that a ceasefire had been reached, Al Jazeera News was showing in real time the strikes going back and forth between Israel and Iran, if any of this is even true. And you could see instantly that there was no ceasefire. And does a ceasefire with Israel mean anything anyway? Because how many times was there a headline that there was a ceasefire reached between Israel and Hamas, and then, minutes later it seemed that they blew up another hospital in Gaza. By they, I mean Israel. So anyway, Trump is, just always talking nonsense. His persona is that of a liar. They say Satan is the father of all lies. Trump runs on MAGA, the highest degree of the Church of Satan. And it's not an accident, that connection with MAGA and the Church of Satan, because, of course, Obama, part of the just as evil political party, he did tell the joke April 30th, 2011 at the White House Correspondents' Dinner that Trump would become the 45th president, and Trump was in attendance, and that was the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan. And every year the Church of Satan's birthday is 45 days before Trump's. And, of course, Trump's a big ally of Israel, which is the nation of the synagogue of Satan. And I explained this super clearly 1,000 times in the past, and especially the day Netanyahu came back on Albert Pike's birthday, a very prominent Freemason who wrote the letter about 3 world wars to come, with the third world war being centered on political Zionism. But we explained the day that Netanyahu returned, December 29, 2022, just before we went into 2023, what that number sequence 223 has to do with the Bible and the letter to the Church of Philadelphia about the synagogue of Satan. And you learn gematria, you realize that Philadelphia equals 223, like the synagogue of Satan equals 223. In numerology, the number 2023 is no different than 223. The whole George Santos joke was going on at the time. George Santos, who claimed to be a Jew but was not, but was a Catholic, going with the Revelation 3 story and the letter to the Church of Philadelphia. George Santos has the 223 in his name. All those things were big buzzing stories in 2023. And of course, we told you why this war was going to start in 2023 and how it would be, the latest very clear trail to the Third World War that Albert Pike wrote about. So anyway, Trump, first he lies about the ceasefire, and when he put out his tweet, it was already June 24th, Freemasonry's birthday. Remember, he was the apprentice, and the first degree of Freemasonry is the honored apprentice, and Gematria Freemasonry equals 58, like he won the 58th election the first time around after announcing from the 58-story Trump Tower. But anyway, he put out this tweet about the ceasefire in Israel and Iran when it was already June 24th, 25, a date with 55 numerology. Again, every day it's news by the numbers, so you get the ceasefire news on the appropriate day. After shooting at each other back and forth, at least so we're told in the headlines, after Trump announced the ceasefire, Trump's now saying, okay, the ceasefire really is in place. I just had to drop an F-bomb first. And, of course, that's the kind of stuff that people get really chatty about. Oh, my God, can you believe the president said the F word? It's like, is this even important? What I can't believe is anyone is still voting in any of these rigged selections. That's what I can't believe. What I can't believe is this didn't go viral the day we exposed all the 60 stories, 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Nation year, the day Trump comes out and says he'll run in the 60th election, and his ex-wife falls down the stairs and dies, and nobody blinks an eye. And of course, we were telling you long before that happened why Trump was going to be put back in the 60th election, because his name equals 60. Plus, he had his convention the first time around in Cleveland, like the other split-term President Grover Cleveland. But again, this stuff is what exposes what's really going on. The ritual sacrifices, the rig system Kabbalistically, where this whole thing of letters and numbers comes from. Again, Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. Anyway, the other big lie on the table is they're saying, oh, actually, it looks like Iran's nuclear sites are still intact. And again, I mean, was there even any strikes there? June 21st, U.S. time, June 22nd. Iran time, we are lied to every day lied to by our government, by our media. There's almost never any proof of anything they say. No proof. It's unbelievable that anyone would be taking U.S. intelligence seriously after what happened at the start of the 2000s, where it was all lies, very serious lies. If we don't do this now, could be a dirty bomb going off in America. If we don't take your rights and liberties and have this surveillance state, could be sleeper cells all over, blowing up dirty bombs everywhere. And then it's like 20 years later, it's like open border, anybody can come across, no dirty bombs anywhere. But yeah, it's nothing but BS and lies. And what pisses me off is, as someone who's been here telling nothing but truths and accurately forecasting what's to come day after day, exposing the way this game is rigged, I get deleted all the time, censored, shadow banned now, can't even get any views anymore. And meanwhile, liars who told whatever political line they want, they're getting millions of views. And for example, today this guy showed up in my feed. I'd never heard of him before. Nate Friedman, he sports the Star of David. This video from 4/7 got nearly 1 million views. Yours truly has made over 10,000 videos over the years, probably way over 10,000 now. I've only eclipsed 1 million views 2 times, and that won't happen anymore on this channel. They barely even let me get 5,000 views on this channel. Eclipsed 100,000 to almost 1 million, hundreds of times back when I could get views. Again, I haven't gotten any views since I was deleted over January 6th. And again, what was I deleted for January 6th? I was deleted for showing how they simulated January 6th at the Transition Integrity Project at Jesuit Georgetown, June 12th, 2020, and accurately forecast everything that would become the headlines on January 6th, which ended up being true, and then was deleted on January 7th, deleted for the 20-something time at the time. But anyway, this guy shows up in my feed, and here, I just want to play his clip. His name is @NateFriedman97, so I'm guessing he's probably born in 97. He looks about that age. So, old enough to know, but he's about to tell just a blatant whopper of a lie, and I'm guessing that he thinks he's telling the truth, and I'm not going to say he lied on purpose. I'm going to say he lied because he came up in the same slave school that we all did, where we pledged to 13 stripes for 13 years and get indoctrinated, and our heads get filled with all kinds of lies and half-truths, and all sorts of things are left out. So let's listen to Nate Friedman, and then let's see what's 100% wrong about what he's about to say right here. All right, so here's Nate Friedman, somebody who apparently, it's funny, he's on 201,000 subscribers right now. Perfect. Anyway, check this out.
Even the people showing up to their protests don't...
By the way, he's about to, you're going to hear what he's about to say, but this is about the people who went out for the Tesla protests. The big 201 rally not long ago, but here we go.
Approve of the messaging. Elon isn't a Nazi to anyone who has an internet connection. Here's Elon visiting Israel after October 7th. Weird thing for a Nazi to do.
See, I just want to stop it right there. Why would that be a weird thing for a Nazi to do when the Nazis have everything to do with how the Ashkenazis ended up in Israel? See, I bet he doesn't know that. I bet Nate Friedman doesn't know about the Hubbard agreement. The Nazis agreed with Zionist Jews of Germany to send 60,000 Jews down to Israel, what we now call Israel. So the Nazis were crucial in getting the ball rolling for getting the Ashkenazis in modern-day Israel. And so it's just like, how can you say things like this? How can you say, what would a Nazi have to do with Israel? Oh, well, everything. Everything is what it would have to do. Not to mention what they did is what created the larger ball that got even more Ashkenazis in Israel. You know what I mean? Yeah, the Havara Agreement, agreed to between Zionist German Jews, August 25th, 1933, with the Nazi Party that came into power earlier that year, January 30th, 1933. And again, if you don't know, the people who've been behind all this are the same people who gave us the calendar that says I'm doing this broadcast June 24th, 2025. Again, we're on the Jesuit Orders calendar. We're speaking the English alphabet that was standardized by the Jesuits at the same point in history they implemented the calendar, where they set up this system. Again, the Nazi Party takes office on 1/30, right? January 30th, Nazi Party 1/30. From that day to the Havara Agreement, 207 days later. What do we know about the number 207? It's the number of Father Amiot, the Jesuit priest who translated Art of War and made that text famous. Again, if you look into it, there's no proof a Sun Tzu ever existed, but there is his text credited to him, Art of War, which is famous because of the Jesuit priest who published it in 1772. The same Jesuits that worship the sun, and their logo's the sun. Again, Father Amiot. Let me see. Is this the post? Yeah, there's a lot of information here. I guess I didn't put down the. Here, we'll come back. But here, just about Musk in his little Nazi ritual, January 20th. And again, I got my X account deleted 7 days after this happened for exposing this. And that hurt because finally I had reestablished a good audience on the internet. I was averaging 2,000 viewers per stream. And just a few days before I got deleted, we had over 5,000 people watching the coverage of the rigged conference championships in the NFL this year, where we were a million miles ahead of it again, because the whole game is rigged by this Kabbalistic code. But yeah, again, deleted on X. I'd never been deleted on X. I'd hardly had to put up with any censorship on that platform until Elon Musk took it over in the big Jesuit ritual that was, when he offered $54 per share on the anniversary of Lincoln being shot, the same Lincoln who blamed the American Civil War on the Jesuits. Another thing they don't teach you about in slave school. But yeah, just to go back over this, for Nate Friedman, who obviously doesn't know about the significance of Nazis and Ashkenazis in Israel, and what they really did here with Elon Musk. Again, Elon Musk is a puppet, a character on the world stage that was invented by the Nazi scientist Werner von Braun and his book Project Mars. The lead is the Elon. So now we get the invented character Elon Musk, where everything he does is perfect ritual. But notice, this was the salute was the day of the inauguration of number 47. Again, in this Kabbalistic code of letters and numbers, the 4 base ciphers that you can learn from The Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall from 1926. The alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, both orders with numerology applied. Right wing, Mein Kampf, fascism, all 47. Again, it's annoying hearing people say that the Trump administration's fascist. What administration hasn't been fascist in the U.S.? I mean, we have the Roman fasces on the wall of the House of Representatives with all the Roman architecture to boot, when again, the word fascism goes back to Mussolini, who coined it as the merger of the corporation and the state. I mean, in what world isn't that, both political parties here in the U.S. But also, that salute is known as a Sig Heil, and I've seen these right-wingers go and go, oh no, his thumb wasn't quite right, so it's actually this. You can look at all the neo-Nazis doing the salute the same way Musk did it. Everybody who saw that was reminded of one thing, small mustache man and the SS. But notice the way the 47s are encoded. Again, Werner von Braun had died 47 years earlier in change. Mars... Again, he wrote the book Project Mars. Musk says he's going to lead the first mission to Mars. Mars has the 47-year orbital cycle. Of course, I don't have it up here, but Trump equals 47. A lot of 47 with, we know how special 47 is. But yeah, from Musk's birthday to the salute in tribute to the man who invented him, Werner von Braun, 207. That number that, again, goes back to Father Amiot, the Jesuit priest who wrote Art of War. And Musk is 53 years old at the time, like how the book Project Mars was first published in English in the year 53. And, this thing had been going on for a while. When Trump first took office, they said he was going around with Mein Kampf, which he denied. And you can see this magazine over there in Europe having Trump doing the salute. So this was years in advance. It's all part of an ongoing script. But yeah, you can also see the way Project Mars, the name of the book, overlaps with Donald Trump. And again, from the salute to Musk's upcoming birthday, 159 days as well. Remember, Trump last year had the hoax on the 15th of September on the golf course where he spends much of his days, while the Secret Service was 159 years old. Again, the Secret Service was created the day that Lincoln was shot. But yeah, 159 days as well that way. You can just see how perfectly coordinated this was. And remember, the July plot by the Jesuits to kill Hitler was on July 20th, the 201st day of the year, the anniversary of the moon landing, which Werner von Braun's instrumental in. But the Jesuit order is 201. So is Adolphus Hitler, the name on Hitler's birth certificate. And again, January 20th can be written 20/1 like 201. It's also the 201st day of the U.S.'s age when you measure from July 4th. Again, the Jesuits who venerate 201. We just lost the first ever Jesuit Pope whose birth name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, equals 201. Like Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, equals 201. Pope Francis was named after St. Francis of Assisi. He died 201 days from the anniversary of St. Francis of Assisi. Pope Francis was the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. It was previously a hospital and then remade into an apartment, but it was named after Pope Leo, not the new one, but the last one, who died on the 201st day of the year, etc., etc. Don't forget Project Paperclip, when the U.S. brought the Nazi scientists over, also began on July 20th, the 201st day of the year. For the record, Nazis equals 24. 24 years later, the moon landing would happen on July 20th. Neil Alden Armstrong equals 201. Again, Werner von Braun was like the brain behind the rocket that got men on the moon. At least so we're told. So Werner von Braun is no slouch in history, and that's why he has the parallels to Musk, who's now going to lead the mission to Mars. And in Jewish gematria, Mars equals 201. But yeah, from July 4th to January 20th, 201st day of his age. From Werner von Braun's death anniversary to the salute was 218 days. Remember, Trump's got the 218. Holy Roman Empire's 218. The Holy Roman Empire supposedly ended on the 218th day of the year, and that was 218 years ago. We're coming up on that anniversary in August. But yeah, so I covered all of this on January 20th. Not to mention Elon Musk's birthday, June 28th. And remember, yours truly got his first channel deleted for the first time ever. I've now been deleted 20 sometimes, but the first ever time my channel got deleted, which hurt in a big way because I was getting major views and growing rapidly at the time, it was June 28th, 2017 on Elon Musk's birthday, shortly after Trump took office. But yeah, June 28th is Musk's birthday. Big day in history for the SS. Anyway, we covered all this the night of, right? And then they waited to tell us, but it came out weeks later that on that very same day that Musk did the salute in obvious tribute to Werner von Braun, that Werner von Braun's wife had died. You know, they didn't tell you the day of. Look at what day it was published. February 7th, right? The 38th day of the year. And as we've always taught about 1,000 times, 38 is the number of death. It's also connected to Germany. But on the 38th day of the year, they tell you death 38, Germany 38, murder 38, killing 38, RIP 38. And anybody who's near going, well, you're using 4 ciphers. Does my name equal 38? Zachary. Does that equal 38? Does my middle name equal 38? Does my last name equal 38? You know, does my mom's name equal 38? Does my sister's name equal 38? You know what? I do have a family member that does equal 38. My dad's name does equal 38. But look at how many people we had to go through before we got another 38. Whereas in this case, we see this all the time. Death 38, murder 38, killing 38, RIP 38. Another 38 is election. You know, did have to do with the election 38. DC's on the 38th parallel. The killing department, the Pentagon's 38. We started that needless war in Vietnam on March 8th. That's when the troops first landed there on 3/8. Or was it 8/3? Like the song Murder by Numbers came out in 83. They sing that song in the movie Copycat. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix right now. About killing's the sport of the elected, and it's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. But yeah, you know, I mean, where did it go? They had to tell you on the 38th day of the year. In February 7th, it can be written 7-2, right? Again, the SS were modeled after the Jesuits. Jesuit order 72, like President Trump's 72. Hitler's also 72. Right now, we're talking about removing Iran's regime 72 years after the CIA overthrew Iran in 53 on the Jesuit order's birthday, the day the coup started on August 15th, the Jesuit order's birthday. Fateful day in history. Afghanistan's government recently collapsed. Trump's brother's dead on that day. Gold standard changed, etc., etc. Here, again, just because I didn't put it up there, this 207 thing that we came back to, the Jesuit priest who translated and probably honestly wrote Art of War, Father Amiot 207. Remember, in Art of War, if you've never read it, chapter. Hold on, I always get dyslexic. Art of War. Is it the 9 situations or the 11 situations? It's either chapter 9, the 11 situations, or chapter 11, the 9 situations. All right. Chapter 11 is the 9 situations. 11-9, right? Remind you of September 11th. If you look into that chapter, it's exactly 68 paragraphs long. Remember, in 68, World Trade Center construction began. 911 made the national emergency dialing code. A lot of things went down that year. Major assassinations, MLK, RFK, fentanyl approved by the FDA, coronavirus coined, a bunch of things in 68. Massive year of years. The Yale professor put out the population bomb, the 201-page book about how we need to depopulate. That 201 numbers on every depopulation agenda going on in the 21st century. But the reason I bring up the 68 is because, again, chapter 11, the 9 situations, is 68 paragraphs. If you look at the start date of World War I, it started on 68 date numerology. If you look at the start date of World War II, it started on 68 date numerology. World War II also started 68 years after 1871, and shortly after the August 15th anniversary of Albert Pike's letter about 3 world wars, addressed to Mazzini, the second leader of the Illuminati, when the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, who was born Jewish, but his parents died and he was raised by a prominent Jesuit priest. So, yeah, Nate Friedman. When you say, here, let's go back and listen to him again. Let's go back a second and hear what he said again. He's talking about these Tesla protesters, and this Tesla protester didn't like all the stuff about Nazis there. But let's listen one more time.
That right there is the look of a 21% approval rating for Democrats. Even the people showing up to their protests don't...
By the way, all these poll stats up on the screen are just fake Kabbalistic numbers. You just saw the big fat 68% to 21. Of course, Jesuits 21. Catholicism 68, like mathematics, like solar system, like Helios. Again, everything they do is sun worship and rituals and time and in a calendar that's synced up with the sun. But well, let's listen to him again. Spew the pure ignorance that's allowed on the tube. You know, you can just spew pure ignorance and YouTube doesn't punish you. You put out actual facts and truth and you're way ahead of the curve, and you sell people from horrible pokey-dokes, and you tell people when the scamdemic's going to end, when the year of the tiger comes around, and you're proven 1,000,000% correct, not to mention you wrote a book about it. Then you get shadow banned so nobody can find you. So you can't sell any more of your books. The only people who are allowed on the tube are the liars. Here we go.
Approve of the messaging. Elon isn't a Nazi to anyone who has an internet connection. Here's Elon visiting Israel after October 7th. Weird thing for a Nazi to do. Here's him wearing a hostage chain saying...
Again, not a weird thing at all. They go hand in hand. So if you don't know this history, you don't know the actual history, it might seem weird, but that's just because you're ignorant. Ignorance isn't an excuse, as they say. So, and again, just learn the code and you'll just see how much you've been lied to. What age did supposedly Adolf die at? Wasn't it 56? You know? You see how he's got the 56-187, just like Society of Jesus? Again, he modeled the SS after the Jesuits, whose formal title is the Society of Jesus. Born on the 110th day of the year, supposedly dead at 56. His body never recovered, and one of the lessons they teach you in slave school. Yeah, he offed himself, but nobody ever found his body. It's like, oh, yeah, sounds legit. How couldn't I question that? He offed himself, but nobody found his body. Sounds totally believable. And again, it just goes with everything else they feed you. Feed you nothing but bullshit every day, and people just continue to swallow it up. You know, if they know they just tell their whoppers of lies 20 years apart, nobody will remember the last one. And then you got the Nate Friedmans of the world, who's, if he's born in 97, if that is right, he's either 27 or 28 right now, depending on where his birthday is. Still old enough to know. I mean, I knew quite a bit when I was his age, but then again, I read a lot, so. Yeah, again, the whole Elon Musk character's Nazi. You know, that this nation, this U.S. nation is Nazi, and we're huge supporters of Israel and the Ashkenazis. Okay. And just to remind you, they called it the Tesla takedown protest. That's what he was. That's what Nate Freeman was out there talking to. Tesla takedown protesters. Tesla takedown, had to put the 201 on it because that's who runs the show, the 201 gang. And remember what the 201 represents. In Hebrew, the original letter and number system, this number has to do with enlightenment, knowledge. And funny enough, in English, the phrase knowledge is power is 201, just like Order of Illuminati is 201, the illuminated ones, the ones with the Kabbalistic knowledge that's used every day to mock us. This was years ago. On December 29th is the day it went viral about just the connection with Elon Musk and Warner von Braun. This was on Twitter before he owned it. It just was like a huge trending topic that day on 12/29. Eventually Netanyahu comes back on that day. But again, 12/29, the 201st prime. Mars 201. That's been going on the whole time. Did I forget to mention that the Mars Project equals 207? The Mars Project 207. Warner von Braun 207. Musk doing the SS salute like Warner von Braun was in the SS. Doing it on the 207th day of his age. The same day his wife just happens to die. You remember those turds, Jim Bob and Andrew Wilson, who wanted to debate me after they saw my coverage of that, and we did debate them both, and they were both a waste of time. They were both mocking this, like just acting like it's just a coincidence. All of this stuff's just a coincidence. No, it's far from a coincidence. It's all Kabbalistic ritualism. And again, what day did Iran get attacked by Israel? June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. What's state of Israel equal? 201, just like the Jesuit order. David Ben-Gurion dead 201 days after the anniversary of Israel's establishment. Adam Weishaupt dead 201 days after the anniversary of the Illuminati's establishment. Over and over, the same stuff. Trump's ex-wife dies in this big 60 ritual before he wins the 60th election. He buries her on the 201st day of the year, July 20th, 2022. Also today, just another headlines. Bobby Sherman, Hollywood star from the Western. Here Comes the Brides. Young star, dead on Masonry's birthday. His birth name, Robert Sherman. Just, again, Robert 33, Sherman 33, Hollywood 33, of course, Masonry 33, secrecy, order, all 33. Highest degree of the Scottish Rite, 33. Scottish Rite equals 57. This show will turn 57 years old come September. September 25th, the day leaving 97 days left near the 25th prime. Here we are in 2025. Death equals 25. Bobby Sherman dead on Masonry's birthday. And yeah, I doubt that's an accident. No one's going to question the death of an 81-year-old, but just a guy with a double 33 name dead on Masonry's. Remember, modern Freemasonry born in London, England. England equals 33. London divided into 33 neighborhoods. London equals Masonic. Modern Freemasonry founded June 24th, 1717, a date with 47 numerology. Mason studied the 47th problem of Euclid. This nation established 59 years later. Freemasonry equals 59. 59 is the 17th prime. Mason equals 17. The Masonic headquarters in D.C. is at the address 1733. Mason 17, Masonry 33. Tropical Storm Andrea. I got my eye on this for 4 days from today. 4 days from today is going to have 25 date numerology. But no, it's the first named storm in the Atlantic of 2025 is Andrea, which equates to 25, like flood, like earth, like Enlil. Enlil, the Babylonian god of flooding and storms. 4 days from today will be Musk's birthday. It's just going to have 25 date numerology. So I'm curious to see what Andrea's doing come June 28th. If you missed what happened in North Dakota with the horrible windstorm, the derecho, and tornadoes, 68 years to the day of the worst tornado in North Dakota's history. If you missed that from this weekend, that also happened 337 days from the anniversary of the new Twisters movie coming out, which is the 68th prime, and that movie was released on the 201st day of the leap year, like weather control equals 201. Going back in history, JFK gave a speech on the future of weather control to the United Nations September 25th, 1961, after he died 201 days later. Lyndon Johnson was at Jesuit Holy Cross talking about the future of weather control. Again, Weather Control 201, like the Jesuit order, like the first act of weather warfare admitted to on August 15th, 52, the Jesuit order's birthday. So yeah, we'll see what happens here with Tropical Storm Andrea. But yeah, first name storm of 2025. Had to have a 25 name. And it's just like the chump being back in 25 as well, you know. If he makes it to 2029, Trump's got the 25 and 29. He's number 47. Again, 312 electoral college votes while the Pope's 88, and then the Pope dies at 88 on the 312th day of Trump's age when 312 is the Chicago area code, and Kamala had the DNC in Chicago. And, you know, Trump's always been connected to Oprah, who does her show out of Chicago, who asked him in 88 if he'd want to be president someday. She did the ritual with Kamala 47 days before the election in the 248 area code, Oakland, Michigan, when President Donald Trump equals 248 and the country's turning 48 years old. And the first time around, he beat another woman. He can only beat women, like he's Mr. Freemasonry, which is only for men. But first time around when Hillary conceded, he was on 248 electoral college votes. And we were talking about all this stuff years in advance and how it foreshadowed him coming back. Remember the mug shot in Atlanta on the 24th of August? It was like, oh, yeah, he means business. Look at that face. He's serious. But yeah, also don't forget they killed Tony Todd, the actor in Candyman, set in Chicago. He died, announced dead the same day that the election was called for Trump. R. Kelly. Again, R. Kelly supposedly nearly poisoned to death after being sent to prison on the anniversary of the Jesuits being recognized by Rome. Now, R. Kelly, who lived in Trump Tower in Chicago, he calls on Trump to pardon him days after Trump turns 79 years old. And again, just all this ritualism, all connected. We've been talking about how R. Kelly's downfall was so Jesuit. We predicted why Diddy would go down at the same age, 54. Diddy gets arrested 201 days from Clive Davis's birthday. It's just, again, you learn this knowledge, you just see who's pulling all the strings. Yesterday, we were talking about how the feds rested their testimony yesterday, 33 weeks after Diddy's birthday, just like his dad was killed at 33. And again, it was also 42 days after the trial began, like Puff Daddy and Freak Officer 42. Anyway, number all over Black history. Just a reminder, the Soleimani thing, from his killing, which was credited to Trump, January 3rd, 2020, to the upcoming 201st day of the year, July 20th, 2025. Going to be 2,025 days like the year we're in. There's always fireworks with the 201s, so we'll see what this turns out to be. But yeah, save the date, July 20th. And remember, that's also the 52 date numerology for the month, the number of weather warfare. So I expect some crazy weather thing, just like we were saying, to look out for it on the 52 date, which just passed over the weekend, June 21st, 25. It was North Dakota that got it, and part of Minnesota. Also, did Slick Rick and Nas tell us the future World Series on the day, leaving 201 days left in the year? We've been talking about this potential scenario on Patreon, and now we got it with Slick Rick and Nas's new song, so we're just watching. Notice from Slick Rick's birthday to the new song coming out with Nas was 150 days, and World Series equals 150. Run it the other way, World Series is 147, like the Mets were the first team with a 14-7 record this year. Last year, the World Series won by the Dodgers started 147 days after Dave Roberts' birthday. The Yankees had the best run differential in baseball in the regular season, plus 147. This year, the Mets became 14-7 on the day of the nationwide Trump protests, and the Yankees fell to 13-8 that day rather than becoming 14-7 like Donald Trump equals 138. But yeah, Nas in his verse says, place your bets. It's going to be a Subway Series this year. And here's what's wild. Not only did this song come out 150 days after Slick Rick's birthday, it came out exactly 39 weeks into Nas's age. And as we know, that's the New York number. In all four base ciphers, New York has the 39 connection. We call New York 39 land. NY 39, New York 39, NYC 39, New York, NY 39. And if this is correct that Nas is 51, if you watch the music video, it shows that he's 50 years old, born on September 14th. Both of them are CIA agents in the music video for the new song. But anyway, if Slick Rick is 60, and Nas is 51. Put their ages together, that's 111, right? Like New York's the land of 111. Like September 11th happened on the day, leaving 111 days left in the year. Like we told you in spring training of the 111th World Series, why the Mets were going to be there with monster odds at 40-1 just to represent the NL. And remember, the 111th World Series, the Mets lost to the Royals in the time of the Queen, born on the 111th day of the year. If you go back and look, New York lost on November 1st, 11-1. And Matt Harvey got pulled after 111 pitches, and Eric Hosmer was the last batter he faced. And when Eric Hosmer came up to the plate, he had a 111 batting average for the series. He was 1 for 11, I think. Or no, hold on. It was 1 for 9 is what he was. He was 1 for 9 with a 111 batting average for the series. But he got a hit, knocked in the first run against Harvey, which got him pulled in the big 111 ritual. It's too bad my channel's been deleted because the Mets only won one game in that series, and all day they were looking at the 86. All the news media kept, it didn't matter if you're watching CNN, Fox, ESPN, they kept showing, all the networks that day were showing the parachute incident at the 86 World Series at the Mets, and you can see parachutes 93 and 39, both numbers connected to New York. And I said, I bet you anything today the Mets win this game, and the score is 3-9. And sure enough, the Mets won 3-9. And the media was showing you all day through their coded imagery. By the way, the name of this song is called Documents, which equals 129 like New York Mets. 129 is 201 in base 8 counting. This song came out on the day leaving 21 days left in the year. And just yesterday in the MLB, you had the Mets and the Braves playing each other, and the Braves edged out the Mets yesterday. Battle of the NL East. Where are they at? Braves won 3-2 yesterday, and look what the Braves record became in the NL East versus the Mets yesterday. Just to show you how this stuff happens all the time. The Braves became 12-9, beating the New York Mets 129. That's why I say, you want to learn this knowledge? Apply it to sports, because every day you have examples to look at. You can practice. But yeah, again, the world of entertainment, predictive programming, stuff being put out by the code. Not to mention 150 days after Slick Rick's birthday, on the day leaving 21 days left in the year, when Slick Rick's known for the one eye symbolism like the Illuminati. Remember how Illuminati these numbers are? Illuminati. 150, right? Order of Illuminati. 201. It's like when Alec Baldwin smoked the Ukrainian woman on the set of Rust in the church shootout scene right before Russia-Ukraine broke out. And remember, Biden and Putin met on Pearl Harbor Day 201 days after the first Jesuit Nation year began, before the war broke out in the Donbass region. 201. But again, coming back to this, Alec Baldwin, it was 201 days after his birthday. They said he shot the Ukrainian woman at 1:50 local time. When Brandon Lee died on the set of The Crow, it was compared to his father's death on the when he was filming Game of Death. Bruce Lee died on the 201st day of the year. And Brandon Lee was buried on the 93rd day of 93, April 3rd, 93, which was Alec Baldwin's birthday. So we've covered these things a million times. It happened on a Thursday night, the Baldwin shooting. And just for the record, Bruce Lee's 35, Eric's 35. That night, the Browns had an upset on Thursday Night Football. Of course, Thursday's 35. They had a backup quarterback in who got his 35th career win. I remember, if you go back and look, the same night that Alec Baldwin smoked the Ukrainian woman, the Browns upset on Thursday Night Football. We call it 35 Thursday. Remember, the football's the shape of the eye. The first score of the Super Bowl was 35 points. In Septenary Chaldean gematria, football and Super Bowl have the 35 connection. Again, there are ciphers outside of the base ciphers. Again, I wrote about all this stuff in my first book, so... And this information's been out there for a long time. But Super Bowl 35, football 35 in those ciphers. Packers won the first Super Bowl with Jesuit Vince Lombardi, who died unexpectedly at Jesuit Georgetown a day before the 1970 season. But yeah, pretty interesting. So we'll see if Nas isn't lying with his... And by the way, Nas is 51 years old right now. According to... Well, again, you watch the music video. It's interesting. In the music video, if you look at it, it says he's 50 years old. But according to the internet, he's 51. Just about a Mets prediction. Mets 51. New York Mets 51. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just want to let you know that's out there too. Just another example. And with regards to the whole 201 and 150 thing, don't forget this either. Heliocentrism, the model agreed to that says the sun, the thing that illuminates the world, the nearest star is at the center of it all. That model was agreed to in the 16th century, the century of the Jesuits. It's 69 and 201 like the Jesuit order, but they say the sun's 150 million kilometers away on average. 150, 201. We call people like Slick Rick and Nas, we call them stars. You know what I mean? Call the biggest baseball stars. Remember what I showed you about Juan Soto, how he celebrated that club in the Dominican Republic that had the roof claps right after on all those celebrities at the start of the baseball season. And again, if you missed it, Order of Illuminati is also 93. We were talking about this with Brandon Lee's burial, who was Eric in The Crow. Again, Eric equals 35, like he was buried on Baldwin's 35th birthday. But again, they say the sun's 93 million miles away on average, 150 million kilometers. And do you see how Order of Illuminati is also 258, like the day of the Havara Agreement, where we started the 25th of August? You know, Number of the Beast also has that connection. William Henry Gates has that connection. Remember, his father died on the 258th day of the leap year in 2020 at age 94, the big number in Seattle. He was married on the first day of 94. His mom died later that year. Kurt Cobain died 94 days after their marriage, also 206 days before Bill Gates' birthday when Seattle's the 206 area code. The father died in the time of the scam, which had the 94 encoding. Bill Gates said it was all going to happen a decade in advance in Davos, Switzerland. He gave the TED Talk talking about how we can depopulate. And then he said in 10 years, there's going to be a movement to jab the whole world. Almost 10 years to the day of the first cooties case outside of China being in his backyard, the land of the world's biggest needle. And don't forget, the whole simulation for Cooties 19 was Event 201 put on by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab. He was the main spokesperson, and then Bill Gates was the main co-host. And then you only had the CDCs from China and the U.S. participating. Go figure. And Bill Gates' ex now, Melinda, from a family of Jesuit priests, born August 15th, the same day as the Jesuits. And speaking of 201, do you remember 2 years ago today? Roe versus Wade overturned in a 201 ritual. Case that overturned Roe v. Wade. What is it? Dobbs-Jackson, but what's the actual name? Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization. And they told us that it was going to, in 201, they told us it was going to impact black women the most as we get the first black woman on the Supreme Court, Ketanji Brown Jackson. And remember, she replaced Stephen Breyer, who announced he was retiring 201 days from his birthday. And then they confirmed her 201 days from her birthday, but then they didn't put her in until right at the time of Roe versus Wade. And don't forget all the stuff with just the whole, abortion history. Roe versus Wade decided January 22nd, 122 days after Jane Roe's birthday. The memo leak was May 2nd, credited to Alito on the 122nd day of the year. Let me see. It was 72 days from Samuel Alito's birthday. Or hold on, let me go back to this. Oh, this is after the fact. This is they came out and did a probe, and they said they couldn't figure out who leaked Alito's memo, but that came out 72 days from Alito's birthday when Roe vs. Wade was originally a 7-2 decision. And then the day it got overturned, June 24th, 2022, was a date with 72 numerology, like Jesuit Order 72, like President Trump 72. And remember, he had put 3 people on the Supreme Court. He got his first one in there, Gorsuch, on April 7th, when Judge is 47 and Supreme is 97, and that's the 97th day of the year. And, of course, Gavel's 47, like Trump, like Obey. And Neil Gorsuch equals 58. Trump had won the 58th election. His middle name, Neil McGill Gorsuch, is 88, like Trump is 88, and 47, and 25, just like Judge. And, again, confirmed on the 97th day of the year, the 25th prime. So it's funny looking back at this. This is when the whole Baldwin thing was going on too. Rust before Russia. Let me see. Trump or Musk put out this little tweet about the proper birth rate And this is his tweet. He had to put it right here. He said, this is the perfect amount at 2.01. 2.01 children per homes. How many kids does Musk have? How many children does he have? Hold on. There's a lot of these posts. Roe versus Wade was decided decided 72 days after Henry Wade's birthday. And it was his 58th birthday, like Trump put in all those justices after the 58th election. Again, just perfectly coordinated history. And remember, 72 is not arbitrary. You know, it goes to the rule of 72 with the Jesuits. It goes to how many years it takes for the astrological wheel to move 1 degree. Jesuit order equals 54 like sun and 72. Sun moving 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. And this system behind the language is very cleverly thought out. That's why it's one of the secret teachings of all ages. Ketanji Brown Jackson sworn in 6 days before Dobbs versus Jackson overturning. Yeah. Don't forget, Roe v. Wade has the 42 connection as well, like Freemason and Jesuit. Overturned on Freemasonry's birthday. John the Baptist's birthday as well. Ketanji Brown Jackson was born exactly 123 weeks before Roe v. Wade was decided. Roe v. Wade is also 123, like conspiracy. Breyer, so here's what it is. Breyer announced he was retiring 201 days before his birthday, and she was nominated 201 days before her birthday. Double 201, and then the case 201. She was confirmed on April 7th, the same day that Gorsuch was confirmed for Trump. So Biden got his first Supreme Court judge. And don't forget that Biden was the 47th vice president. And he took office in the Oval Office the first time with Obama when he was 47. And then he was in D.C. as a member of the federal government for 47 years before being elected president. And president's 47, like White House, like government, like authority, like Republican, like Democrat. John is 47. Modern Freemasonry's birthday is on John the Baptist's birthday. Freemasonry is very tied in with the Bible. 47 is this number of authority. Christians 47, like Vatican. News and other authorities 47. The ultimate authority's time. Again, the Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid. The tropics of this earth are 47 degrees apart. This nation's birthday is the 4th day of the 7th month, not arbitrarily. All right. Yeah, there was a lot of little interesting things that they did with the Roe versus Wade overturning. Trump took credit, of course, because he put a third of the Supreme Court on it, or at least the puppet had in his script. Let's go back to this. The LA protests for the overturning. Let's see. Where the protest was in LA, Pershing Square, just like the Jesuit order forwards and backwards. You know what I mean? It's like you go back to the London bombings after 9/11. The on 7/7 they were in the 201 square. 2 towers became 0 before they were replaced as 1 World Trade Center. The Jesuit motto at Georgetown is both into one, the nation's first Jesuit university. George Washington died unexpectedly next to the Jesuit priest who repopularized Jesuitism in the U.S., who died in history 201 days from his birthday. Oh, yeah, the guy who Dobbs, his name is Thomas E. Dobbs, another 201. It's a double 201. It also has the 159 encoding, like Donald Trump, who took credit, like Scottish Rite. Again, Scottish Rite, Freemasonry, Trump the Apprentice. Clarence Thomas was installed on the bench on a 201 ritual as well. It's been true for a lot of the Supreme Court. It's been true. The first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice John Jay, 201. It's 201 and 84, just like the Jesuit order is 201 and 84. United States of America is 84. Jesuit alone is 84. Masonry is 84. The Catholic Church is 84. Supposedly you can't be a Catholic and a Mason, but the first Jesuit Pope did the hidden hand all the time, and there were rumors that he was a Mason. Again, that's the purpose of secret societies. Yeah, I look into the founder of the CDC, another big 201. It's like how they participated in Event 201. But yeah, Nate Friedman, I'm sure if he comes across this, he'll feel no need to respond because he'll see the small views and the small channel. And Nate Friedman, if you do watch this and you're still watching, understand, my channel's been deleted 20 sometimes. It's funny, he's on 201,000 subscribers right now. Let me see what kind of views this guy averages. Well, he's done better than me. I've only ever had 2 videos over 1 million. But again, I've always been shadow banned and it's been hard for me to get views. I've really had to earn my views. But yeah, how long's this guy been here? He's only been here since October 7th, 29. Isn't that sad? Can only imagine how big this channel would be if it had never been deleted and it was allowed to grow the way it was. And even when I was doing very well, I was still getting shadow banned and suspended all the time and having to take a week off and just getting tinkered with, putting out nothing but truth, and then getting these emails from Google that it's misinformation. What's the, hold on. And Nate, if you're part of the cabal, you better look out, man, because your people, they get it a lot by the numbers. What's the former liar woman who was in charge of YouTube who died at 56? And then her son died right after? Susan Wojcicki. Yeah, she was a major liar. I remember she did a video saying they were going to stop punishing people for content made in the past. Picture of her at the World Economic Forum run by Jesuits. And then it was like the next day, I got a whole bunch of strikes for old content. I was like, okay, she goes on and does a popular video saying they're not going to strike YouTubers from, okay. Yeah, dead at 56, Susan Wojcicki. Man, you were just lying not so long ago, and now you're dead. Dead on the day, leaving 144 days left in the year, like Jesuit Orders 144. Dead 540 days after stepping down as CEO, a bit like that 54. Just like Musk offering $54 per share on 14/4 when he wanted Twitter, little puppet. And then her son died right after this. But yeah, Nate Friedman, in case you're in this club, man, be careful. Might be decoding you. Let me see if we can find the video on her son. On the 44th day of the year, he was found dead. Like kill and executions 44. Yeah. 223 days after her own death, like the synagogue of Satan. How's that? She announced her resignation on the 47th day of the year. If I remember right, she was replaced by a 47-year-old. Yeah, she was. Yeah, I remember now. 47-year-old Indian guy. She steps down on the 47th day. And remember, Google celebrates their birthday on the anniversary of the Jesuits being recognized by Rome. Sundar Pichai, 201, did that mass firing through email on the 201st day of the nation's age, 20th of January. It's too bad my channel's been deleted since then because we went down to the Google campus and we interrupted their lunch to talk about it. And of course, they called the police on us. Little Cutsy was there that day and he was all scared. He complains about that now in his paranoid rant. He's like, he almost got us arrested that day by yelling at those Google employees. Yeah, everything I said to those people was 100% on point. Bunch of foreigners. I told them, you guys come to this country because it's supposedly a better place. And if it is a better place, it's because we're supposed to be able to have the right to speak and protect ourselves, which is not allowed in a lot of the nations you guys came from. And here you are working for this company that undermines what America's about. And none of you are American. It was well stated. And then these scaredy cats called the police. But anyway, we'll leave it there for now. Shout out to the one super chatter. Gabriella with the big 2. She said, from my 6 girls, they earn $2, donate to causes, and they chose you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Gabriella. I greatly appreciate your daughters, and thank you for the gift you made for Ruby. It's much appreciated. Appreciate everyone who hits the like and the share. If anything else happens today, I'll be sure to upload a video about it. Till next time, True Seeker.